What if every time a suspicious transaction happened in your system and the fraud was detected automatically, instantly, even before any human looks at it? Well, this is a credit card fraud detection system I built using PHP and MySQL with real-world security features. So whether you're a student who needs this as your final year project or a fintech company that needs a fraud monitoring solution, stay on this video because I'm about to show you everything. So basically, what is this project about? Anytime someone swipes a card, buys something online, does a transfer or anything like that, somebody needs to be checking. Is this amount too high? Is this person transacting from a strange country? The card just make 5 transactions in 10 minutes. Most small businesses, nobody's watching. Fraud happens, money is gone, and they find out a week later, sometimes never. And so that's what this system does. The moment a transaction comes in, it checks it automatically if something is off and it raises an alert. And it tells you exactly how serious it is, whether it is low, medium, or high. On top of that, every card detail stored in this system is encrypted. Even if someone hack the database, they will find nothing. And every single thing that happens is stored and cannot be deleted or edited. This is not just a school project, this is something you can actually use. And I'm going to walk you through everything right now. This is the login page, and security is the foundation of the system, just like my Invent POS Lite that has rate limiting built in. So, yeah, if you type the wrong password 5 times, the account locks for 30 minutes. So, I'm just going to log in with one wrong attempt. So it gives you invalid username or password. If you continue like that for 5 times, it's going to log you out for 30 minutes. This is our dashboard. We have 4 cards here, and the other part of the dashboard we have transaction today, fraud alert today, and all that. So let's scroll down and check other features here. So we have recent alert and recent transaction. So I've not made any transaction lately, so that's why we are seeing 0 transaction and all that. So, but before we continue, let me explain the fraud rules because that's what makes the whole system work. So I'm going to click the fraud rules in the menu bar. So this is the fraud rules. So we have 4 fraud rules. So we have the amount threshold, rapid transaction frequency rule, and others. So I'm going to start with the first one because of time. So the first one we have the amount threshold rule. So you can decide to set it because it's editable. So you can decide to activate it and also deactivate this particular rule. So you can set the amount threshold as you wish. So, but right now I'm using US dollar. So, and if any transaction is greater than $100,000, so it's going to flag that transaction fraud. So you can also decide to edit it and save the changes. So moving to the next one, we have the rapid transaction frequency rule. So let's see, the minutes is 10 minutes, we set it to 10 minutes, and the maximum transaction is 4. So if you make 5 transactions with 4 transactions within 10 minutes, it's going to it's going to raise an alert for fraud. So the next one is the location anomaly rule. So we have 4 flag countries here. We have Nigeria, Russia, China, and North Korea. So let's assume you are in the United States and you're making a transaction from any of these flagged countries. So it's going to flag that your transaction fraud. So it's going to raise an alert for that. So if I change this place to false, so it's going to flag any country outside of these 4 countries. So why it is true, these are the flag countries. So you can decide to toggle and activate and deactivate as you wish. So the last one is the failed authentication attempt rule. So like I was saying before, in your logged in, or have rate limiting built in. So let's say you enter the wrong password 2 times, then the third attempt you get the password right. So it's good, and you make a transaction immediately, like you make a transaction immediately. So that transaction is going to be flagged fraud because it assumes that you are a scammer that gets access to someone that is guessing someone's password, but you got it wrong at the first 2 attempts. So the third one you got it right, and immediately you went to make a transaction. So it's going to detect that particular transaction fraud. So an interesting part is that if if one of the rules fire, the alert is going to be low or medium severity. I mean that if it's only this particular rule, so it's going to that particular transaction is going to be the severity level is going to be low or medium. But if it hits more than one of these fraud rules, so it's going to escalate to high. And no human decide that, the engine does that on its own. So now that we understand the four rules, how the detection works, so let's create some transaction and show you this in action. Now we've understand the fraud rules, so let's create transactions. I'm going to click transaction here, so you can see how you can filter transaction. We've done some already, so I'm probably going to click add transaction, and now we have these details. You can as well go back. So I'm going to fill all these details, so to put this James Soccer for US dollars, so electronics Russian. I'm going to use Russian so I can see everything. I'm going to use this IP address. I'm going to use $150,000, so UK. So I'm going to use transaction type of transfer, the city Moscow, and I'm going to use today for the timestamp. So let's fill the card number 4532774. Alright, so now we've done this, so we're going to create a transaction now. So watch create transaction. So now transaction created successfully. So now if you noticed, before now we have 8 here before and 6 here before now, so but now we have 6. So let's just check. And now you can also see transaction here. You can see the transfer, the country, the dates, the status, and you can also view that transaction. So let's view this transaction. These are the details. So but let's click the alert to see what exactly is the problem. So now if you noticed it, now look at today's date. Today's date is 15, and look at the time. So we have two alerts. So like I said, this everything high, so you can see it. Transaction amount $150,000 exceeds, and another one, transaction country Russian, is flagged. So let's go to the dashboard again and let's see. So what happened here is that after 30 seconds, these numbers, they update themselves after 30 seconds directly from the database. So before now we're having 0 transaction today and 0 fraud alert today, but right now we have 1 transaction and 2 fraud alerts. So if you notice, the graph has changed, other things have changed automatically as well. So we're going to create the next transaction. So right now we're going to the next transaction. So I'm going to be fast a bit. So we're going to add transaction. So let's fill the details for this particular transaction. So we're going to use China for this transaction. So using this IP address. So now we're going to be using lesser than that amount so that we don't get flagged for that particular one. I'm going to leave it POS, so I'm going to use Shotgun. So I'm going to set it today as well too. So I'm going to type the card number now. So we have 542. Alright, so I'm going to create this transaction right away. So we have now transaction created successfully. So now you've noticed, now this is a transaction. Okay, you can as well view the transaction and see your details. So now the number was 8, so now we have 9 alerts now. So I'm going to click it. So now if you notice, now the severity level is what? Medium, because it's just 1. Like I said before, if it's just one of the rules, so it's going to be medium or low. But if it is more than one of the rules, the severity level is going to increase to high. So you can see it here. So I'm going to create another transaction as well. Alright, so now I'm going to create the next transaction. If you notice, everything is changing as well. So I'm going to, before I create that transaction, I'm going to remove Nigeria from the flat countries. So I'm going to remove Nigeria and I'm going to save the changes. Alright, so because this transaction we're going to be making it for Nigeria, so we're going to add the transaction. So let's add all the details of transaction. So I'm going to use Nigeria. I'm going to put it in $120 so that we're using a bank, I'm going to use transfer Lagos and timestamp 20 today. So Alright, so now I'm going to create the transaction right away. So create transaction. So now we've created the transaction, so you can see it here. Now you can see the transaction here. Like I said, you can also view that transaction and see your details. So now our alert has increased to 10. It was 9 before. So I'm going to click the alert again. So I'm going to check it. Now you've noticed now the severity level is now what? Is now low because it's just one of them. Like I said before, if it fires with just one rule, so it's going to be low or medium. So this case is just the AMAT threshold rule. So we have low for the severity level. So let's click the dashboard and see if it updates automatically. You can see it updates automatically. You can see everything is changing automatically. So I'm going to create the last transaction, I think. So alright, so I made some transaction before continuing again. So that's why the transaction is now 7. So I did some testing again. So but now we're going to test two of the rules, the two last rules. So we have not tested this rule and this rule. So I'm going to test this rule. So if you notice, we have the max transaction as 4 for the same card number in a short time. So now I'm going to change it to 1. I'm going to change it to 1 because we want to make um, two transactions with the same card number, the same details within 2 minutes. We are done with that transaction so that we'll be alerted for this particular thing. So I'm going to save these changes. So we have 12 here, so it's going to be 13 when we are done. So I'm going to go to transaction and add transaction right now. So I added someone was trying to do some testing. So I'm going to quickly just use James Ben. James Ben. So this person is going to make two transactions within a short period of time. Within a short period of time, we're going to be using US. Let's use US. So the IP address, let's use something like this 7. So I'm going to paste a particular number we're going to use. Okay. So I'm going to use this thing. So I'm going to use normal amount like $3,000. So um, UBA bank. So um, ATM, any of the cities. Let's use Lagos. Oh, no, let's use Lagos. So um, today, so I'm going to create this transaction. So I've created the transaction. Nothing happened here. This is still 12. So right now I'm going to create the next transaction within a short period of time with that same card number. So but now I'm going to change the transaction type. The transaction is an ID, so you cannot have the same NST number. So I'm going to use USD. So transfer same US. Alright, so IP address 7, right? Okay. Then the amount we're going to use $500. So I'm going to use the UPA for this one. So I'm going to use online. I'm going to use worry. So today as well. So okay, so let's create this transaction with that same card number and we're going to create transaction. So now if you notice it now, the alert is now 13. So let's go and check. This is the transaction. These are the transaction, the two of them. You can see the card number within a short period of time. This is it. You can see the time, just 1 minute difference. So I'm going to go to the alert and check it. So if you notice it, you can see it now. We have medium, so we've tested that. I tested it before now, so you can see it. I changed, I used 3 transactions for mine. I didn't record that part, so you can see this. We have 2 transactions within a short period of time. So we've tested this rule, so we have just one more left for the transaction for the rules. All right, so this is dashboard. So I'm going to test the last rule. So, but before we test that last rule, we have to log out actually, so that we can try it for 2 times and try the password 2 times and log in with the right password. So I'm going to check. Let's check it again and see. So this is what we said after max of two maximum fail attempts of the password within 30 minutes. So I'm going to log out. So I'm going to log out here. So you can see it. I log out. So I'm going to put the username. Username is admin. I'm logging as an admin. Though we have 3 users, so logging as an admin. So I'm going to put the wrong password first for the first attempt. 1. Going to try again. 2. So right now I'm going to put the right password. So this is even wrong. So let me even put alright. So now I've logged in. Now I tried it 3 failed attempt. So I'm going to create a transaction immediately. So let's go and add one more transaction so that we can see if we'll be alerted for that. Alright, so we're going to use USD. So let's just feed it this. So we just want to see that particular thing in action. So I'm going to change this card number to 77. So okay, so pick anyone. So alright, so let's take a look at this place. We have 13 here, we have 13 in the alert. So let's create the transaction and let's see what will happen. Alright, good. Now you notice it has increased to what? 14. So you can see the transaction, nothing is wrong. So but let's go and check the alert and see. So you can see it. Can you see it clearly? So you see the servicing level is high. So the card ending with this particular card, which is the last transaction, has still failed authentication and access. So you are trying to log in to with the wrong password for 3 times, and so it's going to flag that as fraud. So now we've explained the 4 fraud rules and we've demonstrated them in action. So we're going to go to the next thing. Right, so now we are going to take some actions on these alerts. So I'm going to click alerts. Or remember, we have 3 users in this system, this project. So we have the admin, the analyst, and the viewer. So the admin oversees everything. So the admin has access to everything, literally everything. Then the analyst can also take some action as well, but does not have full access compared to the admin. And the viewer does not do anything, just go there to view. So, but meanwhile, so let's take some action. So if you scroll down, this is the alert. So if you scroll down, you will see 2 actions we can take here. We have the acknowledge and the false positive. So what acknowledge means is that I've acknowledged the fact that this is a fraud alert. So I'm actually investigating it. So I'm going to click this particular acknowledge. So the status is going to change from new to investigating. So I'm going to click acknowledge. So now if you notice, I've acknowledged this alert. So and I have what investigating. So I can also you click the false positive. So but I'm going to click that false positive on this particular transaction. So what this false positive means is that I later found out that this transaction was a legit transaction. So I will just click the false positive and give a note to that transaction. So for this transaction that somebody made within 1 minute, 2 transactions within 1 minute, so I will just assume that I'm going to click false positive. So I'm going to enter a note for the false positive. So I'm going to say, okay, card owner, um, confirm this transaction. So it's a legitimate postage. Alright, so you can put any notes, any kind of note. So I'm going to click OK. So now if you notice it, this particular transaction, the status is now false positive. So it was a mistake to find out that that particular transaction is actually legit. So but meanwhile, let's try and resolve this particular transaction that we are investigating. So I'm going to click resolve. So when I click resolve, I'm going to enter the resolution note. So you can put any note there. So I'm going to put that as review done. Alright, so I'm going to click OK. Alright, so now we've resolved this particular transaction. You notice that when we resolve these 2 transactions, the number has changed to 14. Alright, so all the alerts associated with this transaction has reduced to 14. You get, so you know that one of them was having 2. I think this was this one, so that's why it was 14 before. So now it's 11. So you can acknowledge as many transactions you want to acknowledge, and also click positive, false positive when necessary. So next thing we are going to check is the audit log. So this is one of the most important feature in this entire system, and most people overlook it. So yeah, every single action is permanently recorded. Yeah, who logged in, who created transaction, who acknowledged an alert, who resolved a case, who marked something as false positive. Every event has a timestamp. So the user did it, exactly what happened, and you can see there is no way you can even edit or delete, even as an admin or analyst or viewer. There is no, the viewer can't see this anyway. So even as an admin, you cannot edit. You can see the timestamp, you can see the time, the date, everything, the actions. You can also filter to, let's filter just today's log. So I'm going to click apply. So today's, I'm going to click apply. So you can see it. So these are today's log. Can you see it? So we have just two. Okay, these are just today's log. So you can see it. You can go back and see just today. Just today, these are the activity, login, log that, and this some transaction, some rules updates, and all that. So you can also you can also export as CSV, which is command separated value. So I'm just going to click it, and it has exported. So we're going to check in the user management. So I'm going to click user. So this is my user management. So I can add user as the admin. Only the admin can add user and can also see the audit log. So you can select any role. So I'm going to go back. So I can also deactivate a particular user. Once I deactivate a user, that user cannot log in with the right password. So meanwhile, I'm going to log out and log in as an analyst and also as a viewer, so I can see the different dashboard or the different menu they can access. So I'm going to log out and log in as an analyst. So I'm going to log in as this analyst. So if I log in as an analyst, I can I can't see the audit log and the user, but I can perform other actions as the admin. I can't see those two details. So I can also deactivate user. So I'm going to log out and log in as a viewer, somebody that just want to view what's going on. So I'm going to log in as a viewer. So alright, so you notice I can just view what is going on in the system, but I cannot perform any action. I cannot perform any action. Alright, so we're going to talk about the import data. So we're going to import data. We're going to import a CSV file. So it's just comma separated value. So I'm going to show you exactly how it looks like. I'm just using comma to separate each values. So I'm going to select one file. I drag and click and drag to this particular design. So I'm going to click select file to select that particular file. So I think that this is it. So click this. So you can see it's comma separated value. So I'm going to click OK. So you're just going to map out the column, just transaction reference to transaction reference, card number, card name, and all that. Alright, so I have all my details. So I'm just going to process the import. So you click process. So two transactions imported. So you can see it. So we have two total, two successful, zero failed, and one fraud detected. So I'm going to check my alert. So right, so good. So you can see it has updated to 13. So you can see them. We have two alerts. So you can either acknowledge or false positive as well. So we are done with this. So you can actually import reward data as a CSV file and do your analysis. So we are going to check the responsiveness for this mobile and also double our change mode. So I'm just going to check. I'm going to check our responsivity. So this is the dashboard. So you can see it if you are using your phone. So this is what you're going to see. Alright, so check transaction. This is going to look like alerts. Also problems. see it's fully responsive for data. Um, Audit Log. You can see everything. See, we imported, so you can see the action. I told you everything installed, and also the user can also deactivate the user too. So I'm going to deactivate one user here. So we'll test it later. I'm going to deactivate this analyst. So I'm going to deactivate this person. So we're going to try and log in with the right password and we'll see what's going to tell us. So meanwhile, let's toggle our mode so you can see this is dark mode. Same thing for the desktop view. Same thing. You're going to see same thing. You get alright. So let me even log out here and you know try the analyst. We use wrong password for so I'm going to use analyst with the right password. Okay. So I deactivated this account. Remember, so I'm going to sign in. Alright, good. See it. Account is deactivated. Please contact your administrator. Good. So now I'm going to log in as the admin and then we're going to activate that account back. Remember, this is the same thing with the desktop view. It's the same thing with desktop view. So I'm going to activate this person back. Alright, so let's log in as that analyst now. Alright, so alright, good. So the login is successful now. So I think it's just one more thing that is left, which is the alright, the next feature we want to test is the forget password. Actually, I can't remember one of the user passwords, so I'm just going to click forget password. So I'm going to put the email of that user. See, I can't remember the email. Okay, this is the email of that particular user from the user management. So I can't remember the password of this account actually. So I'm going to click send set password. So now recently generated successfully, check your email. Alright, so the way it's done is that they sent a token to my database. So I'm just going to copy the token key and just add it to my URL and then click it and it's going to show me the option to change my password. It's same thing if it was to actually send it to you as a real email. So it's same thing. So that in this case the link is sent to the database. So I'm going to do that now. So this is the reset confirm. So I'll put in the URL. So this is it. So I'm going to put the new password I want to put for that person. So alright, so I'm going to update. So password updated. So redirecting to login. So you can see it. So that person is Jakes. So Jakes. So I'm going to sign in with the new password I created. So good. Working fine. So this is just a viewer. And that's it. Alright, so this is a full demonstration of the credit card fraud detection system. So if you're a student who needs this as your final year project, you can DM me on WhatsApp. So if you run a fintech company or a cooperative or a microfinance institution or any business that process payment and need fraud monitoring too, you can also DM me. The system is ready for deployment. So if you find this video helpful, hit the like button, subscribe for more real PHP projects, and also tell me the kind of system you want me to build next. I am Kelly, code by Kelly, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.